As we embark on our word problems unit, the first thing we need to do is be able to translate our world from English into algebra. So we need to take our English expressions and turn them into algebraic expressions. We have to take our world and turn it into math. So we need to be quite good at taking all of these different English expressions and more and making sure we represent them accurately using algebra. So we'll go through these and practice them together. When we talk about 3 more than a number, you want to express that you have this number, that's your benchmark, so it's right here, here's this number x, and you want to be 3 more than it, so you need to go up 3. So you would represent that as x plus 3. 3 plus x would also work. But we'll soon find that it's often good to start with the variable. 12 increased by a, so you have 12, you're sitting here, and you need to go increase it by a. You need to bring it up a notches. So that's going to be 12 increased by a, same thing as a increased by 12. But generally, either of these work because of the commutative property. The sum of a plus 8, nice and friendly. Now, 7 less than a number. So you have some number at some place. Let's say here's this number standing right here. And you need to be 7 less than that. So you need to go down 7. So you start at this number y, and you need to be 7 less than that. As you can see, the variable going first, y, coming first is very important. 7 minus y would be entirely incorrect, and you will get the problem wrong. And so 5 fewer quarters than d dimes. So I know I have d dimes. So I'm trying to express the number of quarters. So the number of quarters would be, there's 5 fewer quarters. So there's fewer quarters. So it would take d dimes and I would subtract by 5. And that would give me the number of quarters. 1/3 of z looks nice and friendly. I could write it like that. Or I could write it as z over 3. Half the number of oranges would look like this, or O over 2. O is a really bad choice for a variable because it looks a lot like a 0. That's why I'm trying to make mine look like a cursive O. 3 more than 4 times a number. So I need to do 3 more than 4 times some number. How do I say 12 more dogs than C cats? Well, I know I have C cats, and I have 12 more dogs than that. So this would represent the number of dogs. 3 less than twice a number. So I'm going to take 2 times some number, and then I need to take 3 less than that. Notice that is not the same thing as 3 minus 2x, so you have to be really careful of that. It's important to definitely check these ones that contain less. Those are very important, and it has subtraction, so the order actually matters. Oh, again, 7 less than half of d, so 1/2 of d minus 7. Now, sometimes I'm going to ask you to go opposite. So how would you express this? You could do this a couple ways. Let's get our typing feature. So we could do 1 less than 5 times a number. Another option is we could do 5 times a number, then diminished by 1. Notice that's different than 5 times a number diminished by 1. Because 5 times a number diminished by 1 could look like this. And that's not what we want here. So having this comma and then this then helps me say 5 times a number, kind of like seat that there. I'm not doing 5 times a number diminished by 1. So there's some confusion here. So that's why this version is really the best. 1 less than 5 times a number. Now, we're going to leave these other problems for another time, and let's go hang out here. So I would recommend going through these practice problems here, pausing the video, making sure you get an answer, and then come back and check. All right, welcome back. Or maybe you just are lazy and are now waiting for me to do it. So 3 more than x. There you go. 5 less than x. 2 times x. 4 fewer than y. X is being diminished by 7. Half as many as y and 8 times w. All right. Good. So practicing translating from English to algebra. Here's the tricky part. We're only allowed to use one variable, and sometimes it seems a little tricky about which one we should make the variable. So we're only allowed to use one variable because we don't know how to deal with equations that have more than one variable in them. You'll learn that next year. So let's say she has 7 more dogs than cats. So what I find is sometimes you're not really sure which one you want to make the variable. So what I do is just try to get a sense for what's the setup. I'm using 3 and 10 because there's a difference of 7, and I know one has 7 more than cats. So which of these situations, situation A and situation B, which of these situations represents that there are 7 more dogs than cats? So I'm looking here. Would you describe that? So you have 10 dogs and 3 cats. So you'd be like, wow, she has 7 more dogs than she has cats. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. All right, so now that we know that, 7 more. Okay, so 7 more dogs. So I'm always going to have more dogs. So I'm going to take the cats and I'm going to add 7 to it, and then I should get the number of dogs. And would that work if C was equal to 3? Yeah, C was equal to 3, then my dogs would equal 10. So I'm going to make the part that says than often is going to be my variable that's just plain C. And I know that I have 7 more. I have more dogs, so I'm going to go C plus 7. Notice, only one variable here. All right, 8 more quarters than dimes. So the than part, I'm going to make that D, and I have more quarters. I have 8 more quarters. So I'm going to express my number of quarters as D plus 8. All right, 5 fewer dimes than nickels. The than, I know I have n nickels, and I'm based off that. I have to write my number of dimes in terms of the number of nickels. So I have n nickels, so I have 5 fewer dimes. Twice as many quarters as nickels. Well, the as is kind of like the than, so I'll have n nickels and I'll have 2n quarters. That means I have twice as many quarters. 8 more spiders than frogs, so let's have f frogs, because that's the than part. Than part, we're just going to make f, and the spiders, I have 8 more spiders, so f plus 8, or 8 plus f. Okay. So that's going to help me get started. Notice how this is going to be called your label box where you define variables, and notice how I am only using one variable. Each variable needs to be written in, or one of the variables needs to be written in terms of the other.